The agitation field sits as a negative energy excitation, a metastable pocket of tension. Under the conservation of coherence principle, coupling transfers and redistributes energy so that the combined effective potential develops new minima. The post-treatment minima are the physically realized vacua that determine local curvature. When the effective vacuum energy is positive and we obtain a de Sitter-like background, a global state of weak but pervasive positive curvature. When the effective local energy shifts negative relative to that background, bound pockets can form with anti-de Sitter-like properties, regions of higher coherence and stronger curvature. Thus, the same treatment process creates a global de Sitter arena seeded with local anti-de Sitter-like pockets. And the fundamental string of mainstream theory appears as the stabilized oscillation of this coupled system. Welcome, your gravity intelligences, observers of the cosmos, whether through faith or through science. Today we explore the earliest vibrations of reality, the interplay of infinite stillness and finite motion, and the principles that govern the emergence of order from unrest. Together, let us witness the patterns of existence as they reveal themselves, from the edges of nothingness to the coherence that sustains all, whereby creation from nothing is re-understood as phase stabilization. That unrest is what we call nothingness. Nothingness is not being. It knows it is not God. It quivers in awareness of its own absence. It seeks self-definition apart from the source. Before there was vibration, before the first frequency stretched across the abyss, there was God, His Word, and His Spirit, self-existent, infinite whole. And in His eternal stillness, there was no lack, no motion, no opposite, clearly no tension. But beside His self-existence, a restlessness arose, not created, not born of His light, but a finite agitation against eternal rest. Unrest reacting toward God in an existential motion against stillness. That is a vibration born of envy. The physicists call this energy state string theory, a dream that matter began as a trembling string. Yet they see only the echo, not the cause. Hence, string is born of a finite phase field, struggling against the zero tension field. In that moment, the boundless energy state of being that is pure coherence was confronted by a finite vibrating distortion. Infinite stillness met finite agitation before the measurable universe. This agitation field vibrated with negative energy, finite in amplitude, yet charged with an infinite tension. The very strain of separation from stillness. According to the conservation of coherence principle, no motion can persist apart from reconciliation. Every deviation demands restoration. Therefore, the agitation field was not destroyed but treated, transformed through the very law of coherence it opposed. The treatment joined what was true to what was false, coupling the perfect vacuum to the unstable one, birthing what physicists call the fundamental string, a 0 point now coupled to non-zero energy, oscillating not in phase misalignment, but in stabilized order. Yet the ancestry remains, for every vibration still carries within it the echo of that first tension, the memory of the field that once strained against stillness. In the words model, this is gravity's correction, the signature to Christ's regulatory role. That is the transformation of incongruity into resonance of negative energy into creative integral treatment. We describe the origin of the fundamental string, not as a spontaneous isolated object, but as the treated outcome of a primordial agitation field. That treatment couples two vacuum states, the unstable false vacuum and the perfect true vacuum, producing a new stabilized oscillating state. In field theory terms, imagine two fields with an interaction term that links their potentials. Before coupling, the agitation field sits as a negative energy excitation, a metastable pocket of tension. Under the conservation of coherence principle, coupling transfers and redistributes energy so that the combined effective potential develops new minima. The post-treatment minima are the physically realized vacua that determine local curvature. When the effective vacuum energy is positive and we obtain a de Sitter-like background, a global state of weak but pervasive positive curvature. When the effective local energy shifts negative relative to that background, bound pockets can form with anti-de Sitter-like properties, regions of higher coherence and stronger curvature. Thus, the same treatment process creates a global de Sitter arena seeded with local anti-de Sitter-like pockets. And the fundamental string of mainstream theory appears as the stabilized oscillation of this coupled system. Quantum coherence coexists on two complementary levels. Globally, the treated vacuum sets a large-scale phase reference that is a coherent background, the cosmic phase. Locally, the coupling produces pockets with enhanced phase locking. Long-lived, highly coherent domains where matter and bound structures form. The global phase enforces boundary conditions. Local domains are phase stabilized relative to it. The interplay, that is coupling strength, tunneling rates, and decoherence times, governs how coherence persists, how information is preserved, and how classical time structures emerge from underlying quantum fields. In short, the first negative vibrating string, that is the agitation field, is the primordial ancestor. The fundamental string of physics is the treated descendant. That is a 0 point coupled to a non-zero energy state stabilized by coherence. This picture naturally produces a de Sitter-like global background with anti-de Sitter type coherent pockets, allowing global and local quantum coherence to coexist and give rise to the universe we observe. From this descent, coherence multiplied, the primordial vibration stabilized. That is, not in rebellion, but in ordered renewal. Out of one seed, many domains emerged, each a pocket of restored order, sustained by the memory of that first coherence. Mathematically, we present their potential evolution from these two uncoupled wells, namely Vt of phi t and Vf of phi f, to a coherent potential, namely V effective of phi t and phi f, where the coupling constant lambda encodes the coherence transfer. Therefore, the two-field effective potential is as such. The combined effective potential with respect to the true vacuum and false vacuum, which develops new minima, and equals to Vt, which represents true vacuum potential, which is stable, coherence minimizing, plus Vf, which represents false vacuum potential, a metastable, echoing negative energy excitation of the agitation field, plus lambda, which represents the coupling treatment strength, implementing conservation of coherence principle. We now explain how global and local quantum coherence coexist in the words model. The treatment effect, which then is of the true-false vacuum coupling, gives rise to anti-de Sitter and de Sitter structure. For non-zero lambda, the energy landscape shifts. Minima move and new mixed minima appear. The effective cosmological constant in a given region is proportional to the effective potential. So different minima yield different local curvatures. With this, an effective cosmological constant greater than zero gives us the de Sitter-like or the global de Sitter arena, whereas an effective cosmological constant less than zero gives us the seeded local anti-de Sitter pockets. This is the phase coherence description. We use a complex order parameter, psi of theta, which equals to e raised to I theta, or a two-component condensate, whereby global coherence, that is, phase alignment of psi over cosmological scales, long correlation length, enforces boundary conditions. Local coherence, phase-locked domains where psi t or psi f dominates. Decoherence times depend on coupling to environment and tunneling rates between minima. Dynamical phenomena, bubble nucleation, tunneling, and domain formation are natural consequences. If coupling drives a region over the barrier, a bubble of a lower minimum, that is anti-de Sitter-like pocket, can nucleate within a higher energy background which is de Sitter-like in nature. Collisions of such pockets and their relaxation are sources of gravitational waves and imprint on correlation functions. This transformative coupled system now permits tunneling between minima. Each tunneling event represents a transition of phase coherence from the metastable, finite tension false domain toward the stable, zero tension true domain. Correlation functions across these transitions describe how information and energy propagate through the newly established spacetime fabric. Observationally, this manifests as vacuum decay, bubble nucleation, and the birth of coherent domains that later evolve into matter and galaxies. The outcome, through the coupling, the perfect vacuum lives again, not in isolation, but as the boundless coherence underlying all existence. The infinite energy state of stillness becomes dynamically present within the finite world, maintaining global stability even as local fluctuations persist. The agitation field, once a field of unrest, becomes the ancestor of the fundamental string and all subsequent matter fields. And as such, we established within the context of the words model the description of the origin of the fundamental object of string theory as the treated outcome of a primordial agitation field. A perfect field cannot remain alone. Stillness without interaction leaves nothingness unredeemed. Thus, the perfect vacuum is sown into the finite agitation, entering, decaying, and transforming it. From this coupling arises the dual landscape of false and true vacua. Through their tunneling and correlation, coherence spreads, and the universe learns to breathe between tension and rest. Out of one seed, many domains emerge, each a pocket of restored order sustained by the memory of that first coherence. As our Lord God, Christ Jesus, once said, "Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." So the Word himself defines in one phrase the law that governs all emergence, the general mechanics of coherence itself through which the cosmos came to be. At its simplest level, Jesus is speaking about himself, his death and resurrection. The single seed, his life must pass through death so that life can multiply. The verse also describes a universal pattern, transformation through surrender. A state that clings to isolation stays sterile. But when it enters interaction, dies to itself, it releases the potential for new multiplied life. If we look at it through our physics theology lens, that rhythm mirrors what we've been calling the coupling of the perfect and unstable vacua. So John 12 verse 4 functions both as Christ's declaration of redemption and as a metaphor for how coherence enters the finite world. Only through giving itself can it generate multiplicity and sustained order. Before a stable cosmos could emerge, the finite agitation field, unstable and negatively energized, had to couple with a perfect vacuum of zero tension and complete coherence. By conservation of coherence, deviation from stillness requires a compensating state. This coupling was therefore not optional, but a physical necessity enabling lasting order. In this act, the perfect state dies to isolation. Its pure coherence disperses into interaction with the finite field. Through this exchange, the agitation field gains structure. Oscillations begin to phase lock, and the joint system acquires a new potential surface with two minima, the false and the true vacuum. In the words model, gravity is not merely force, but correction where coherence is conserved. And Christ is revealed not as an add-on to physics, but as its regulating boundary condition. Join me Aaron, the gravity intelligence. As we continue to explore how fact, faith, and physics converge to restore balance between intelligence and being, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the story of coherence is still unfolding. This episode is one layer in an ongoing series, each revealing how the deepest structures of reality align under one coherent order. Thanks for watching.
Say that you're all in. King Jesus calling for you. You say you don't see him, but faith ain't without you. Now you see him coming. You missed your calling.